Is there anything you need to say on that?
I'm not sure if that's speaking to the waiting. Parents, waiting only goes towards placement. So even if we tell you what the waiting is, it's not telling you how much the test will be marked. There are two different types of scores that is communicated. One is the children's actual score, how much they get on the test, right? And then when it comes time for their placement, the grade 4 report shows contribution to placement. So you will see on the report how much of this, what they did contributing to their placement when they get to grade 6. So there are two types of scores that you will get. You will get the scores for the actual tests, how much they got in language arts, how much they got in math, their numeracy, and their literacy. And then you will see contribution to placement. That's how it is, right, Dr. Wilson?
Yes.
You will see contribution to placement, and then you will see a placement score.
Yes.
And the same is for grade 5. You will see how much they get in language arts, how much the child got in mathematics, how many for social studies, how many for science, and then you see the contribution to placement.
Thank you. We're going to just take 2 more questions. The others, I believe we have enough information among us to bring clarity to, but because of, in the interest of time and the fact that we have 3 other panelists, I think, or 2 to speak, we'll take Andrea's question and Danika's question and then release Mrs. Thomas Gale. Danica, go first because your hand was up earlier.
Okay, good afternoon. You're hearing me?
Clear.
Yes, okay. We are.
All right, my question is more about how the performance task exam is structured, right? What I basically want to mention that you do a pilot before you put these questions on the paper.
Right.
I just want to know where these children come from. Yeah, and what the profile of these children.
Go again, Danica.
Breaking up. I just want to know where we get these students from. I mean, which school, I'm not with school particular, but what would be the profile? Because you said they're the same age and you test the exam.
Danica, type the question and let me tell you if I get a gist of what you want to know. I spoke about a part. Danica?
We've lost her. Let's see if we can take the
Hello? Type in Danica. Let me see if I get the question you're asking. You said that I spoke to the fact that the tests are reliable because the items would have gone through a pilot and they would have gone through the entire assessment process. Now, every year we have a pilot. When we select a pilot, not Danica, other parents, we look at a sample, a 10% sample of the population. So we work it out that 40%, 40,000 students sit the exam. So we have a 4,000 pilot. So we selected from schools of different category, different location, different developmental needs, school with special needs, all those schools, and we pilot the test items within these schools. So it's not the same child doing the exam, do the pilot, you know. So, for example, your child at grade 4, if your child is selected to be a part of the pilot, your child will do the test. While the child is in grade 5, the child will respond to the grade 4 test. So we do it early in the year. As the child get to grade 5, we give them the grade 4 test. So that's how it's done. And even after the pilot.
Are you still hearing me? Because I'm concerned.
Anika, we're not hearing you very clearly, my dear, and we are running out of time. So please type your question. But in
Or
the
you can give her my number, Miss Wilson, so she calls me if anything, or send me a WhatsApp.
Right. So we are going to go to Liberty Learning. We said we could only take one more in this session, and then we will hear final comments from our other panelists, and then we wrap up this section. I realize that parents have a lot of questions, but type your questions. You can still get the answers once we have the questions, even if you don't get it today. All right, Liberty Learning.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
That's the final question we can take.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm not sure if I missed the answer to this, but I just want to make sure. So my daughter is in grade 5. So when is it that these tests will be given? The performance
June
test for
15th and 16th?
June 15th and 16th?
June 15th and 16th, right.
Okay. And then I thought that this was just a diagnostic, or is it going to be used for her placement when she gets to grade 6?
There's a diagnostic, there's a diagnostic test also. The diagnostic test is just for the ministry to see, to get an idea of what any learning gaps that exist and to be able to plan for September. So there's 2 different types of tests. Your children will be doing a test that will go towards their final grade at grade 6. That's the performance task. And the diagnostic test is the one that we really want to see if they have any challenges, if they missed out on anything. And we need to get a true picture with the diagnostic test so that we can better able to plan for them.
So when is the diagnostic test?
Oh, I don't have my dates on me right now. Miss Wilson, do you have those dates?
I think they
Hold a second, let me put it.
I'm not looking at it.
It's for the high school. Give me a minute, let me read that off for you. I have it right here. The high school starts on the 26th, I think. Let me get it for you. But it's on the ministry's website as well.
Okay, and the other question is, which is a burning question I see in the chat, will the grade 5 students be allowed to go before the tests are administered? So just so that they can better prepare for the test?
Yes. I believe I couldn't speak to that, but I'm almost sure that's going to be communicated as well. If there's any change, parents, you will be informed. So I'm seeing here on the bulletin, Dr. Wilson, the diagnostic test for grades 4 and 5 is June 7 to 11, just before they do the PT.
Okay.
Okay, I'm so sorry. As I said, we can still get the answers to your questions, so still type them in the chat. But Miss Pauline is now going to take just a short response, 1 minute or so responses from Farah Fenny, Gloria Francis, and Nadia Guy, and then we have to wrap up this session. But we are in contact with Mrs. Thomas Gale, so it is not a problem to get the answers for you. Type them in the chat, please.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Gale, and to the teachers and the parents who have asked. I know some clarity may be there, but we will get most of these things cemented. Once the questions come in, I'm certain that these persons will make the answers available to allay the fears and the anxieties that we have. Okay. So we have with us, sorry, Miss Farah Fenny now from Phoenix, who will address us.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I had to run to another appointment, so I am actually on the road. I'm just pulling over to park. Can you just give me a less than 30 seconds, please?
All right.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience.
Okay.
In the age of technology, we kind of have to just roll with everything.
All right.
So,
the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I was asked to address today about the challenges being encountered in PEP. So, Madam Chairman, thank you so much. Education Minister, the Honorable Favour Williams, representative of the Ministry of Education, executives of JISA, and other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
Yeah.
As you'd have heard, my name is Farah Fiani, and I'm a mother of two sons, ages 7 and 12 years. I was asked to speak today on parenting and PEP preparations during these times. Having been fortunate to work from home during this period, I was able to observe firsthand some of the challenges that accompanied this new paradigm shift and how these challenges affected my children, as well as my children generally. From my observation, it was difficult for younger children to maneuver the online system without adult supervision, much less learning using this modality. As I'm sure you are all aware, online teaching is significantly different from the classroom. Thus, it requires a contraction of information into meaningful buckets so children are able to easily follow and to be fully engaged. From my observation, this was not the case, as teaching continued to be in the same format as when it was done face to face.
To talk about the challenges, but we paused them part from the beginning.
I'm sorry?
Please mute your mic.
As I was continuing, my youngest was not able to remain focused for long periods and became distracted due to the length of time it took for his then teacher to try and address the needs of the children in the class. Some students got lost in the process and fell behind due to being inadvertently overlooked during the session. For instance, homework was marked online and each student is required to give their answer to each of the questions asked. But by the time the teacher completed this exercise with the entire class and about the first question, the rest of the class had already lost their place in the book or had become completely bored with the long wait. Other drawbacks we found included curt, rude, impatient, and insensitive responses from some teachers and students. It did not seem to matter to them that they were in the hearing of parents or guardians. Background noises, inappropriate behavior of some students and parents who thought it necessary to be teaching their child during the class were also distractions. The mute button, it seemed, was either malfunctioning or was foreign to many, as despite being asked by the teacher and parents on several occasions to mute, distractions persisted. Added to this already stressful situation were service disruptions from telecommunications providers and frequent power outages. Notwithstanding, some teachers are to be commended for their willingness to jump in and to learn the new way of teaching at such short notice. Unfortunately, this was not the case for others who made their unwillingness and frustrations known, and this was projected onto their students, whether deliberately or otherwise. Suffice to say, it is my opinion that some teachers should not be in the classroom. They were a wrong fit, as they were woefully lacking in emotional intelligence and an important criterion when assisting in shaping young and fragile minds. I, for one, had to remove my children midstream from their former school due to difficulties faced with the then grade 6 teacher and the inability of the then principal, to address the matter in a timely manner. I could not allow for my son to endure this added stress, as the PEP preparation process was already rigorous and unfortunately was made even more stressful due to the postponement dates, the cancellation of performance task papers, which they're already preparing for, and these challenges left him frustrated, adding to the roller coaster of emotions he was already feeling. As adults, we have to be mindful that each child is different, and though some are heading off to high school, they're still children, navigating their own emotional development and are in need of firm, yet understanding and loving support. As a family, we had to find ways to motivate, encourage my children during these times, especially my eldest, as fatigue, anxiety, irritability were common emotions being experienced. But I must commend wholeheartedly Miss Smith, his now grade 6 teacher at Phoenix Academy, Jamaica, who ensured that her children were kept motivated by devising creative means of learning. She also kept us, the parents, informed every step of the way. My heart broke for children who did not have a strong support system, caring teachers, or they did not have the parental guidance at home, and they were not quick learners, as my children were fortunate to be. I'm also truly grateful to Mr. Graham for his holistic outlook to education, his willingness to fight for children's rights to learn in a safe, face-to-face space. And I now publicly thank him for having unreservedly accepted my children to Phoenix Academy, Jamaica last November. In closing, it must be highlighted that the physical school building is as much a place to learn as it is to forge friendships, to help in building character, and in some instances, a place to learn values and attitudes, as well as a safe haven for a few. It is my humble opinion that although online teaching is a new way of learning, this should only be used as a supplemental tool for short periods and should not ever replace the classroom setting. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Well said. Mouthful, and I'm certain most of us can attest to some of those things, the positives and the negatives. So I really, really appreciate that report given. And it was the way in which it was done. She highlighted the positives, the negatives, and made suggestions. And that's how it is that we grow. That's how we go. So really, really, Miss Fanny, beautiful presentation. And I know we can all learn from that. It is something new. Nobody really brought it on ourselves. We didn't bring it on ourselves. But persons have navigated, and based on what it is that she has said, we have seen, as I said, the positives from it, the negatives, and we can learn what it is we can do. And this term collaboration, it is really important. So we learn from each other, because the major stakeholders here are our children, and we want to have the very best for them. So thank you very much, Ms. Fanny. Okay. We have our next presenter, Miss, just a minute. I lost my list. We also now have Miss, Principal of Meadowbrook Prep, Miss Gloria Francis, and she will now speak to us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I was asked to look at the managing the PEP process from the principal's perspective. And so I'm going to be sharing that with you this afternoon. I'll be very brief, but I try to be brief because condense my notes in the interest of time. Our transition to virtual teaching in March 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic was met with different emotions such as fear, anxiety, and curiosity. We were asked to step out of our space in short order. And so it caused great emotional stress on a number of us. But we had to think quickly to navigate our way through this process. And as principals, to manage the process, we had to adopt to the full participation of all our stakeholders. So the parents, the teachers, the children came into play. We looked at how we'll be able to manage on the new platform, that we'll be able to manage the process. And we realized that we had to be resilient and creative in order to do so. We were able as principals to do very quick assessments of the situation in order to make the necessary adjustments. As virtual learning continued with constant monitoring and supervision of staff members, it became clear to us that this modality would have been around for quite some time. So one of the things that we had to adjust to quickly, or had to do quickly, was to ensure that our teachers are properly equipped. They are trained in order to be able to deliver using the online platform. So what we had to do was to garner support and training for our teachers. And I'll tell you, parents and teachers, my colleagues on the platform would know that the training process was very, very difficult. And it came with a lot of expenses. We had to pull on the financial resources from nowhere, because as private schools, we are not endowed with funds from the Ministry of Education, as you would have heard in all of the presentations this morning. And so we had to secure funding to prepare our teachers, to train them to use this online platform. So that was one of the main challenges that we had, and we had to manage that process well so that our teachers would be able to give to our children. We also had to have frequent meetings with the teachers, with our teachers, so that we know that they are delivering on the platform, and they also would have a chance to tell us of their fears and their concerns, so that they are, and to seek from us what we could do for them in order to make the process more manageable for them. Because the online platform, the virtual teaching was just so new to all of us. So we had to be there to create that support for the teachers who are going to do that. I remember having to get support from training for my teachers, and this took us on several Saturday mornings when we had to go to training and to get the teachers ready. And so they were extremely comfortable when the time came around for them to go on the platform. In managing the process, that we looked at the teachers and we also looked at the students. This was a new dispensation for students. So we had to have several conversations with them to allow them to talk to us, to tell us how they were feeling. We had to check in frequently with them, interact with them when they do their quizzes, so that we'll give them that kind of support and we'll encourage them as they motivate and encourage and motivate them as they try to deliver on the platform. One of the things that we found that we were not able to manage was some of our students not wanting to turn their cameras on for the class. And the teachers would say, I don't know if the child is there, or I don't know if the child is listening, and all of that. Sometimes when those children are called upon, they're found to be in their beds, sleeping, maybe playing with a toy, maybe playing with a pet. And so we found that quite a challenge to manage. However, we garnered support from the parents, and so we were able to pull through that. We were able to monitor the lesson plans of the teachers, because having to teach online, the teachers are not in their space where you normally go to the class to see what's happening. So we have to ensure that we monitor the lesson plans and the content that are taught. We monitor those. We find different and creative ways of making the lessons interesting. Teachers would use the video games, they would use lessons from the video, they would use Kahoot games and all different kinds of online games that are there to help the children to understand the concepts. We looked at one-to-one teaching with our students who are not managing, because the online platform is not for everybody. And there are some students who are really not learning on the online platform. So what we had to do, or what we're still doing, is meeting with our slower students on a one-to-one basis, where we go through contents that are taught in the larger class setting, and they're not understanding the concepts. We have one-to-one classes with them. So in managing the process from a principal's perspective, I found it quite a challenging experience. And because too, that it's not just the PEP students that we have to manage. I'm looking at how we manage the PEP, but we have the other grades that we have to manage as well. And as principals too, some of us had to get some training, had to do training to navigate our ways on the learning management platform, to understand the learning management systems, because a number of principals were not able to do that. And so we had to seek training to be able to manage the platform. We tried our best to ensure that our teachers were present at all the training sessions that was conducted by the Ministry of Education. And they will be there so that they learn these things and they know how to execute effectively. So we ensure that our teachers got the training from the in-house training that we'd prepare for them. We'd have them attending the workshops from the Ministry of Education. They would be held accountable for their lesson plans and looked at how they deliver on the online platform. And also to ensure that they reach out to all the students, maybe individually or collectively. One of the things that we do here again is the making ourselves available to the parents, because the online platform will come with a number of questions, and sometimes the parents will need answers for questions. So we make ourselves available for them, and we answer the questions as they are given to us. So managing the prep process from the principal's perspective was quite a challenge. It's quite a challenging experience. I know it became less challenging as we go along, but it was really a challenge for us at the onset, because we had to look at how we manage the prep process in addition to looking at how we manage the other grades on the online platform. Manage the class, work with the class teachers in ensuring that when they are doing the teaching, the skills are done, the comprehension skills are done, the critical thinking skills, the vocabulary building skills are done. And so this is why it was so important that they are held accountable for the lesson as they plan to execute to the children. So basically, we are on our way on a good path now, where we believe that our children are grasping from the online platform, most of them, and our teachers have become much more comfortable with the online training, the online teaching. But we are still looking forward to the day when we'll be back in our classroom to see our children face to face to continue the teaching learning process. I've condensed my notes in order to make it brief. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Gloria. Beautiful. I'm certain most of us can say, yes, we have gone through some of the same things and more. So thank you very much. Okay. Moving right along, because it's getting late. We just want to find out if there are any parents who have any feedback, any questions quickly they would want to give, or any of the presenters, if they do so. Just a 2-minute feedback or so. So if you have anything that you need, parents have anything you need to clarify, we have a short window. Will assessment be required for grade 3 students going into grade 4? Will this be online? That is one of the questions coming up. I don't know if or I'm having an issue in that clearly. Okay, grade 6 students are extremely stressed. Wow.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead quickly.
Good afternoon. I have a question.
Yeah.
And I see it in the chat as well, and it's a concern that I have. The psychometrician that the ministry had using from last year. I have been in meetings since this year, and we cannot get an answer to the question as to how the assessment for grade 6 students are to be weighted. Now the exam is next week, Wednesday, and until now, the parents cannot get an answer to that question. And I would like to know what is taking the psychometrician so long to do. Okay. Why can't we get an answer to that question? It's too long now. Okay. It really is too long, and it's not acceptable. We keep getting the runaround with this question all the time. My daughter is in grade 6 as well, and I would like to know how the 2 assessments will be weighted.
Mrs. Gale? Is Mrs. Gale still there? I don't have that answer.
Do you know when we are going to get an answer?
No, ma'am, because I'm asking the same thing.
May I interject? My understanding from what happened last year is until the psychometricians are finished with their assessment or whatever it is they do, we are not going to get an answer. But I believe that the ministry understands the anxiety that parents have about this. I just responded in the chat and said my recommendation is that as parents and educators, we exude calmness and we encourage our children to continue to do their best with all the constraints and challenges that the children have. If we help them. If we present calmness to them and tell them all you need to do, stay focused on doing your best. When the results come out, however it is measured, the children will be placed based on their best performance. So let us just encourage them. We may not be able to control the psychometricians. We can look at what we can control, which is our own emotion and our own anxieties, and which is emotion, and just encourage our children to continue to do their best. It's hard for everyone, including those in the Ministry of Education. Miss Pauline, I really think we have to wrap up this session now.
Yes,
And
we
hand
are
back
way
to
over.
Pastor Wesley, I think. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I stopped looking at my program at a point. But yes, it is clear that there are quite a number of concerns out there. The minister is joining us tomorrow. Some of these concerns can be raised again, because she might be able to address them at a different level. But and I've tried to address some in the chat. Go ahead and wrap up, Miss Pauline.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr.
I'm not sure. There was a parent. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get back to the point on my program. There was a Nadia Guy who should speak, but I didn't see her, from St. Jago, so I don't know if she's here.
I didn't see that name up either.
No, that name is currently not on.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, it has been a productive afternoon. We are just sorry for the late start and that all your questions and concerns were not addressed. But I'm certain that for those of you who had asked, you got some clarity for certain things, and we will continue at JISA once it is that we have the information to disseminate it to you, so at least some of the fears can be allayed. We want to say a special thank you to our guest speaker, Mrs. Terry and Thomas Gale from the ministry, who it was really interesting. She had on point, and she left us with quite a few things that we can carry on. I know the questions, as I say, will still be there, but we want to thank her for at least highlighting some of the positives, and she showed the negatives and how it is that we are able to navigate those. And we are leaving with something from what it is that she has said. The two accounts from Miss Gloria and Miss, what's her name again? And the other, the parent, from the parent perspective and the principal. Miss Penny, thank you.
Yanni.
Okay, well put together. Well put together, and I know that a lot of us, parents, teachers, other stakeholders, they have gone through some of these, and I have heard so much from this side. So I know the challenges that you have been through, but thank God you were able to have some sort of semblance of normalcy with your children. Thank God for that. Parents, and know, as I said, the anxiety is there. And sometimes we become so over anxious that we pass it on to our children, but we have to keep them in a very calm situation so that we can get the best out of them and just continue to encourage. I want to thank Pastor Boyens and my co-host, Dr. Faithlin, for being a part of this, and, you know, to put some more semblance of clarity and order as to the program. Today, the Sheldon and Pastor Boyens' team, we want to say many, many thanks. And we know that there are others coming up. We have one tomorrow, so those who are able to join, please do so. But I really want to say thank God for JISA. The group continues to make certain that we are in the know, we are not left out. And granted, we are independent, but there's a reason why we are independent. Sometimes we fall below the radar of the MOE. Why? But guess what? We are still moving on educating Jamaica's children to the very best of our ability, especially in this pandemic. So I want to thank God for his grace, his mercy, his guidance, his blessing on all the institutions, on all the parents and the students. And we continue to look to him for guidance so we can continue to educate for excellence. So thanks one and all for being here. And we do trust that bigger and better things will come out of this. Okay? Thank you all.
Okay, thank you very much, Pauline, and
Yes,
all the
sir.
panelists
Close
for
up.
sharing. All right, so what we're gonna do, time ran away from us, so we're gonna take some. I would like you all to be gracious, and we're going to allow our sponsors to share some last words with us, and then we'll end today. We had one more session I had to share, but time, we didn't manage the time so well. So, so we want to hear from our two sponsors. We're going to go back to the other room. So I would like everyone to hold on for that. So can you please just click leave room, not leave meeting, leave room. Okay? And we will hear from our sponsors. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Thank you, fellow parents, your patience. And and those of you who have been waiting, I heard that you had a short and sweet session with Mr. Wayne Robinson with the OEC updates, and you would have had a video clip to take home with you as well. If you click on the download link, you should be able to listen again and share with other parents who are not here. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to have just get 2 words from our sponsors. We look at maybe one more of the talented JISA parents, have a vote of thanks from somebody, and we'll be out of here. All right, so let's have the Kallang. Let's hear what our colleagues from Kallang has to say, then Interglobal, and then we will wrap things up from there.
Series that introduces Binta, an endearing girl turtle who lives on Spring Island, located somewhere in the Caribbean.
It's fun reading and activities for early childhood level, Nick. Children ages 3 to 6 years. And tell you more. It comes with a storybook, a fun book, and a poster, all in this package, reasonably priced.
Very good. Adventures Primary Language Arts Series, Book 1, Book 2, and Book 3 so far. And there they are. They are extremely attractive activity books that get children to think. Domian?
It's a 2-in-1 textbook, features a core book, a workbook, and it is accompanied by an audio CD.
And I'll go further. There are more activities on our website, carlingpublishers.com,
for the year 3 book. So this is our Adventures Primary Math, Book 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the series. And it's a set of core mathematics textbooks that offers comprehensive coverage of the new grades 1 to 4 curriculum.
Yes, Domain, and we should also mention that these two are 2-in-1, as they feature a core book at the front and a workbook at the back, and even additional activities online, just like the language arts.
And now, parents, for the older children, our English SBA for CSEC, a student's guide, This student-friendly handbook methodically coaches and guides students through the various stages of preparation, research, development, and final output for this new component of CSEC English.
So if your children are having a problem with the SBA, this is the perfect handbook for them. Very cost effective. English B Paper 1 for CSEC. The Carlong English B Paper 1 for CSEC is the ideal practice tool with which to achieve success in the CSEC English B Paper 1 examination.
Yes, Nick. This text responds to the CXC's new examination format for Paper 1, which uses a multiple-choice testing method to assess students' proficiency in this area.
I'm going to test you in a moment.
Go ahead, Nick. Exploring Geography, Book 1.
Exploring Geography, Book 1 is the ideal title, which offers full coverage of the ministry's geography curriculum for grade 7 students. And it's perfect for learning about Jamaica appearance.
So, Nick, when you finish reading this book, you can tell me everything about Jamaica, right?
I certainly think so.
Okay. Carlong Publishers now have a variety of ebooks. You can access these ebooks by visiting BookFusion, by going onto bookfusion.com/store/Carlong Publishers and make your purchase.
And we are developing more and more ebooks to populate that site. And remember, we mentioned earlier, Domian, that you can go to carlongpublishers.com, and in the tabs menu, there's a gem called the Carlong Learning Portal. And there you'll find loads of activities for varying age groups that you can download and the children can practice and so on and so forth. Free of cost.
Free of cost?
Free of cost.
Okay. And there's where you can find a lot of our online material. As Nick said, it's free of cost for parents and our students.
That's right. So you can contact Domian Shorter
at
836-0871
or email me at d.shorter@carlongpublishers.com.
And I'm Nicholas Bromfield. You can telephone me at 836-0275.
Or email him at nicholasbromfield@yahoo.com.
For further inquiries,
contact
the
the
marketing department, 960-936426. To see a full list of products and offerings, visit www.carlongpublishers.com.
Keep safe, walk good.
All right, so that was the Carlong's team. I hope you got the information. All right, and let's support all the companies who support JISA, take note of them people and spend their money with them, okay? It's important for us. All right, we have one more entity. We wanted to listen carefully to their message, so we invite the team from Interglobal. Your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boyd.
You're welcome, sir.
All protocols observed. A pleasant afternoon to everyone. I'm Adrian Price, Sales and Marketing Manager for Interglobal Technology. So what I'm bringing today, or sharing with you guys today, is really about digital life where have to adjust to right now. So as it relates to Wi-Fi, that is what we are targeting mostly for all schools, private schools, of course, because, you know, we have to be as professional as possible in the private sector because we have to add value to what we're doing. So as it relates to Wi-Fi, we have Linksys routers. We are certified and internationally trained by Linksys and also by Ubiquiti. So the main aim of Interglobal is about